For my intro for this video, I found this little beauty at Universal Studios when I was there last Friday. Check it out. Yes, I know I'm wearing the exact same shirt in this picture as I am now. That was pretty sweet. Now on with the review. So Blade Runner 2049 is the sequel to Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, which came out 35 years ago back in 1982. I think. Maybe it came out in 2007. Maybe it came out in the early 90s. Depends on which cut you watch, apparently. I was always so daunted by the task of watching Blade Runner because I was like, which version? Am I gonna hate it if I watch this version? Am I gonna love it if I watch this version? I've seen the final cut a couple times, and it's one of those movies, I do respect it, but I think I respect it more than I enjoy it. It is a good movie. It's just not really my thing. So this one, 2049, it's directed by Denis Villeneuve, who directed Sicario, Prisoners, Arrival. Arrival is one of my favorite movies from last year, so I was pumped for this movie. And in this movie, you have Ryan Gosling, and he plays a Blade Runner, just like Harrison Ford played in the first movie. And he's going around doing his detective stuff, hunting stuff down. Eventually, he gets wrapped in with Harrison Ford. Since that's pretty much all I got from the trailers, that's all I'm gonna give you here. And this movie is very similar to the first Blade Runner. I do think I actually enjoy this one a hair more. Starting out with the thing that I loved about the first Blade Runner, and I also loved about this movie, is the world. The first Blade Runner is a movie that's totally ahead of its time. You see it in movies like even this year, like Ghost in the Shell, or even in, good movies such as The Matrix. The world that this movie sets up is no exception. It's really cool. It's this dark and dirty future, but it also feels tangible. Maybe this one a little less so than the first movie, because the first movie was like, what if it's our world but 30 years in the future? But in this one, it's what if it's Blade Runner's future, and then it's 30 years into the future even more. We started with this common thread. They're slowly becoming detached, but I did still really like the world in this movie. I thought it looked really solid, and the cast is pretty great. Ryan Gosling, I want to be Ryan Gosling. The guy is a great actor. This is kind of similar to his role in Drive. It's very soft-spoken. Harrison Ford is also in this movie. I thought he was really good in this movie. There are some ties to the first Blade Runner, which if you've seen the first one, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And if you haven't seen the first one, you're still going to get the point of the scene, and that was kind of me, because it has been a little while since I watched the first Blade Runner. So I kind of forgot a couple of different things about the movie, but I was able to still get the emotion from the scenes just because of Harrison Ford's acting and everyone else around him. However, don't be fooled. Don't go to this movie to see Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford doesn't come in until the 2-hour mark in this movie. Just throwing that one out there. Everyone else was good in the movie. Jared Leto is in the movie, and Jared Leto is not in the movie much. It was a little weird. A couple times I thought he was overcooking it, but if you look at his character, kind of this really eccentric business weirdo. Yeah, I guess Jared Leto's portrayal of him does fit. And the music of this movie is good. Vangelis did the score for the first movie. Hans Zimmer did the score for this one. You can definitely tell it's very much attributed to Vangelis. A lot of very low synthy hums. The music isn't really in the forefront of this movie that much, but you do notice when it's there. It helps fill the ambiance of the scene. Now, you guys have probably already heard this, but Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049, they're not Star Wars. They're not action sci-fi adventure movies. They're detective movies, and in this movie, you do get a lot of detective work, and there are some detective movies I feel like can move at a very nice pace. However, both Blade Runner 2049 and Blade Runner the original, the pacing is rough sometimes. I think this movie is definitely too long. This movie is 2 hours and 43 minutes. You could have cut like at least a half hour out of this movie. Sometimes it felt like you take a marshmallow and you stretch it out. It's not that I would cut any scenes in this movie, it's just I would speed up the pacing of the scenes. It almost felt like Denis Villeneuve and everyone else involved in this movie, they love the first Blade Runner so much. They were like, alright, we're gonna make a movie like Blade Runner, but we're gonna go even further with the slow scenes and further with the pacing and the things that Blade Runner is known for. And so it can kind of feel indulgent in that way. Like I was saying earlier, Hans Zimmer's score in the movie is good, but there's like one scene in particular. It's the scene when Ryan Gosling, in the trailer when he's walking around in the desert. He's just walking around through the desert, and then all of a sudden you hear those boom, those low Inception hums. It's just like boom. Dead silent. Ryan Gosling walks a little bit more. Boom. And that happened a couple times, and I was like, okay, we get it. The music, Hans Zimmer, you know how to make boom noises. And a couple of the scenes, like there's one scene Ryan Gosling was sitting down and he stands up. Something about the way he stood up, it felt like it lasted a lot longer than it needed to. I'm not saying everything has to be action, action, action. Like, I get it. Detective movies, those are cool, and they can be cool. Just make it flow a little bit better. I feel like Blade Runner 2049 had some trouble with its pacing. That being said, I didn't feel like the movie was really wasting time with anything. I felt like they just needed to, speed a couple of the scenes up. Everything in the movie is solid. I liked the movie. I think it was a really cool detective movie, but it is definitely a slow burn. I don't know if I'm going to go back and rewatch this anytime soon. I think I do still kind of fall in that category of, well, I did like this movie more than I liked the first one, and I do enjoy both movies. Don't get me wrong. I think both Blade Runner movies are enjoyable, but I would be more interested in just taking certain scenes and clips and shots from the movies and studying those, rather than actually sitting down and locking in for like 2 hours or 2 hours and 45 minutes and watching each one. So if you loved the first Blade Runner, you're probably going to love this one. If you didn't love the first Blade Runner, you'll probably feel about the same. You might enjoy it a little bit more. At the end of the day, though, I do think Blade Runner 2049 is worth seeing. I didn't even touch on the cinematography. The cinematography in this movie is amazing. Roger Deakins should win an Oscar. It looks great. Like, this movie is flawless in the cinematography. cinematography department. And the movie didn't do too well this weekend, so go check it out, because I don't know if I want to see a Blade Runner 3. I think I'm fine with this kind of two-part story. However, I do want this movie to turn a profit. You can definitely tell a lot of people put a lot of time and effort into this movie, and that those efforts should be rewarded. So go see it if you have not seen it, but if you have seen Blade Runner 2049, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, you can click subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys next time.